Does Venom: The Last Dance save the Venom trilogy? Or are you still in disbelief that there actually is a Venom trilogy to begin with? Welcome to Movie World Plus, a place where we talk movies. I'm Andy Signor, and I'm here to review Venom Part 3, The Last Dance, the supposed final installment in the Venom franchise, starring Tom Hardy. Does it work?
Andy, keep it honest. The movie's kind of fun.
Oh, it's so stupid, though. It's ridiculous.
But come on, Tom Hardy yelling at himself is pretty fun.
It is. I can't deny it. I gotta be honest, throughout this whole franchise, as silly as that looked and seems, it is kind of fun to see Tom Hardy argue with himself. And that's the part of this movie I liked. Is it really Venom-esque? Debatable, obviously, depending on your Venom. Venom's a little bit more vicious in a lot of the comics and stuff. But I always kind of applauded Tom Hardy for going all the way in. And to be fair, he does go all the way in this movie. This movie does sort of set up the trilogy. Now, if you're looking for like a fantastic comic book movie that's going to make a lot of sense and, you know, all that, this is not the movie for you. If you didn't like the previous Venom movies at all, you're probably not going to like this. But if you had fun in the previous one, I think you're going to enjoy yourself on this one, to be perfectly honest. The movie's more of a road trip. It kind of throws the other movies out, literally throws certain plots out, who can be symbiote, all the rules sort of go out the window. And they just sort of like, let's just have some fun, shall we? And let's like do a finale for Tom Hardy, Eddie Brock, and his Venom. And when the two are out there in this road trip sort of way, it's not awful. Now, you got to suspend your disbelief. You got to sort of throw out the rules of its own franchise in a way, because they're really going to go and make everything a Venom. It's like they just didn't care anymore. They're like, yeah, let's just go all out and make it super cool. Let's make a Venom horse, a Venom frog, a Venom fish. Like, you're going to get all the Venoms in this, whether you like it or not. And you're also going to get some other variants of it and symbiotes and things that, you know, be ready. That's sort of what the fun parts are. And if you're not really wanting to see, you know, fully comic accurate and smart plot, I'm telling you again, this movie is not for you. Now let's just start with the fact that they have two people from the MCU, Chiwetel Ejiofor and Rhys Ifans, who are there. Is it Ifans? Sorry, I don't know how to say either of these guys' names fully. But he played Lizard. He played from Doctor Strange. I'm forgetting all these secondary characters. And then, yes, let's not forget, this was a scene from, was it the end of, and which one was it? Anyway, I'm losing fact of all my Marvel knowledge, but this was like an end card, was like, ooh, Tom Hardy's Venom's coming to Spider-Man. False alarm. No, he's not. But they try to sort of retcon and deal with it in this. And it doesn't make a lick of sense. It really doesn't. Nor does the fact that he's there. But I guess parallel worlds, parallel versions, they sort of make the same thing where the bartender, when Eddie Brock goes back to his world, the bartender's the same actor. Danny Rojas from Ted Lasso, Football is Life. Two Ted Lasso cast members of this, Juno Temple as well. You gotta just sort of let that go. It's bad at times. Like, it doesn't make any lick of sense. But that said, he's actually an interesting character. More in the movie than I expected, but an interesting, you know, fun. They're trying to have some fun. This whole plot line was, while it overstayed a little long at times, it's a little bit more fun than even just this, which just feels so forced to have her back in Vegas. Oh, let's just go have I'm good at gambling, so come dance in my hotel, even though you turning into Venom might cause the end of the world. It doesn't matter. Let's go dance to Dancing Queen, because that's the kind of movie this is. And the movie ultimately is that. They set up the sort of an opening Venom scene that's pretty good. And then the movie plot sort of becomes like when Venom's creator, which they've implied in the trailers, is they're sort of sending these creatures back to kill all symbiotes, but he needs to find the codex. It's a lot of plot MacGuffins and stuff. But when Venom, goes full Venom with Eddie Brock, the codex is clear. And so it sends these monsters out to the world, and they're very dangerous, scary monsters. Even Venom's scared of them. So it sets this problem where they can't be Venom, because if they do, it alerts the monsters and then they're in trouble. So the movie's sort of tripping over itself, because you're like, well, I want to see Venom. And they figure out ways to do it. This was probably the most annoying, silliest, dumbest way to make him Venom again, but they still figure out a way to do it. And surprisingly, I got to say, throughout the film, they also kind of create some like touching moments where it's been a year with these two. And as much as he hated Venom in the beginning, the second movie is a little bit of a blur to me. I don't remember much. I think I liked first one, and this first one's probably still a lot more the best. Third, in my opinion, is way better than the second one. But what was nice about this one, aside from sort of the simpler plot, which I actually was fine with, because none of these movies have really been highbrow. You kind of know what you're getting at Venom 3. But I like to sort of just got on with it. They're like, we're just gonna have some fun. And we're gonna also try to have some emotional moments where it's like, it's the last dance. Till death do they part. These two are now fully connected. Like the symbiote relationship is now strong. And so them sort of they're already established. We know the rules and they're sort of letting each other do their thing. Makes it more fun and acceptable. And I like that. So this idea that in order to stop the Kodak, they can't become Venom. Well, they got to potentially end something or separate in order to make this work. And that becomes the theme of the film of just like, is this the end? What do they do? Do they need each other? And there's a couple moments that I thought were actually pretty well done, given how stupid and silly the movie is overall. These two have come together and created sort of a fun buddy duo, cop, villain combo. I don't know what you call these two. But it really all hangs upon Tom Hardy, who has given it his all. And he does both those voices.
He does the Venom voice.
And then he does his voice. And I applaud him for it. He really goes all out with this one. They're trying to have some fun with this one. They really do. They go full on Venom. Now, does it make sense? No. Are there some silly sort of justifications in the third act? Yes. Is it still kind of fun to watch? Sure. I've seen a lot of dumb comic book movies of recent, Madam Web, etc. And I got to say, well, this is not going to be on my top 10 list. You know, for a matinee price, it was okay. It was fine. I wouldn't say it's the worst thing I've seen. Morbius, Madam Web, way worse. Venom has always sort of been the only sort of good thing. There's good ingredients in this, and I do wish there could be a version of Venom and Spider-Man. I would enjoy that, but that's not what this movie is. Now, will there be other creatures and characters to surprise you? Yes. Again, I'm more sort of annoyed by why is he there? I like him as an actor, but really, why? Like, what's with the multiverse stuff? Why even have this scene again? There's just so much to the Sony universe that bogs this down that it's just annoying because they just don't know how to really do the bigger, proper story. Unlike Spider-Verse, which is so fucking great. It's just frustrating that they can't find their own way in this. They're constantly trying to set up things that just don't really pay off. And, some silly stuff that doesn't. But at the end of the day, it's the Brock and Venom collab that ultimately really does make this movie work. Surprisingly, the road trip sort of approach does help it. It keeps it a little bit more contained. And I will say, yeah, the last dance was not as bad as I expected it to be. But again, if you're not a fan of either of the Venom movies, definitely don't waste your time seeing this one. You will be super bored. It's just as much as the other two. I would argue one's better than two, pretty much a lot. I think this wasn't two is not very memorable. This one's sort of the funner, dumber version of those two. So that's what you need to know going in. Should you start the franchise here? I wouldn't because the buildup of them over the movies sort of helps this and the emotional moments hit a little harder. So this really is the finale, if you will, for this franchise. Doesn't mean it's over. There are 2 end credit scenes. There's one mid credit and one end credit. I'm not going to talk about them. I'm not even trying to say they're bad. I'm just confused. Because will we even see the things they sort of imply? Because the Sonyverse is not always very reliable. Kraven the Hunter, what do you guys think of that? The trailer's so strange. What do you think, though? Overall, I got to give this one a begrudging. It's a definitely worthy scene in streaming or seeing at a matinee price in sort of opening weekend if you're a fan. That's what I would recommend on this one. I was not as offended as I thought I might be. But there it is. That's not a glowing review, but there it is. Hit that subscribe, hit that bell for all alerts if you want more movie reviews from me. Hit smash the thumbs up and let me know your thoughts. Did you see it? Are you seeing it tonight? You going to see it this weekend? Did you see it? Did you like it? Do you think I'm being too nice? I want to hear your thoughts. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more here on Movie World Plus.